redemption awaits the Liverpool players. Their preparations are well underway as they prepare for a campaign to right some wrongs. Trainings move to Germany at the weekend, and after some gruelling sessions, the action is about to get underway. It's Karlsruher versus Liverpool. It's a 5:30 kickoff for the Reds, and it's the first in a 5-game pre-season campaign. LFC TV and LFC TV Go are the only places where you can watch each and every one of them live. Well, welcome along to the show. Charlie Adam, Gary Gillespie, pre-season, time of the year that you liked or not?
That I liked. I don't think any football player likes pre-season. No. I think the one thing that you would say that because you've had that break, and it's maybe a little bit different for these guys because the break seems to get shorter and shorter, but certainly back in our day, my day anyway, you've had maybe some like an 8-10 week break at times. So to get back into like the dressing room and like have a crack with the lads, I think that was the highlight. And then obviously the hard work starts, and it's soon forgotten that you've been away for 10 weeks and you've got to knuckle down and get on with it. But I think everybody will be glad just to get back in, and let's face it, we're all looking forward to the start of the new season. I
would imagine the technical analysis of the body was slightly different between the two different eras, Charlie.
You're not saying that now.
I'm not talking about today.
But no, I think if you look at now, these players are in unbelievable condition. You know, they leave, they'll have left Anfield the last day of the season, and within probably the international players or the non-international players, within probably a week to 10 days they'll be back at it, doing light stuff, and the programmes that the club put on for them now is incredible, and they're probably just as fit coming back for the start of pre-season as they are when they left. So it's just now fine-tuning, and the games are what it's all about. And you know, when you do pre-season, I think this gives you the most base for the rest of the season. If you can get through this pre-season, 6 weeks, the games, then you should get through the rest of the season, and it's a brilliant opportunity for the lads to showcase the talents for next season, because it's going to be a big season for a football club.
I mean, it is a cliche. It's a good starting point. You do a good pre-season and it rolls on well into the campaign. Does it feel even more so given the last campaign that we went through with Liverpool?
I think there's mitigating circumstances for last season's performance. I think we began to see the real Liverpool probably towards the end of the season, where they were quite consistent, put a lot of like good results together. There's no doubt getting away from it. Like, we lost some silly games, Forest. I mean, even Brighton. I know Brighton had a great season, but you expect to go down there. You don't expect to get beat as easily as what we did do. And the likes of Bournemouth as well, losing down there. So there was silly games and silly points that we dropped. I don't expect that to happen this season. A big factor, I thought, was the fact that we didn't have Jota and we didn't have Diaz for a lot of the season. And I think when you saw that when they came back, we had different options going forward, and I think we looked a better side. And I expect us to be a lot better this season than what we were last.
Just 5 games in this pre-season as well. That might suit the manager.
Yeah, because it's going to be a long season with Europa League as well, and but you want this to turn into a 50-60 game season, because if you do that, then you know you're competing at the top end for titles and trophies, and if you become a 60 game season. So this base for the next 4 or 5 weeks, away to Germany, away on a big tour, these games are important because it gets the lads back up, and the ones that have been out, you know, during the back end of last season will be raring to go, and hopefully they can score a few goals in pre-season and take that feel-good factor into the season.
Absolutely, can't wait. Thank you, gents. Yes, LFC TV and LFC TV Go is the only place you can see every Liverpool pre-season game live, and we'll be travelling with the team to give you the very best insight from their preparations. To do that, Peter McDowell is over in Germany for us, and he's also got details of who gets the start for the Reds today.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. The footy is back and there's great anticipation here. Why wouldn't there be, about a brand new Liverpool season? And this first game tonight, there has provided a little bit of a challenge for Liverpool. It's about 2.5 hours away from the team hotel, so they weren't able to train this morning like they would like to do on day 4 of a training camp like this. So all of the assets are poured into this one tonight, and Jürgen Klopp hopeful of a really promising 45 minutes in a stadium and against an opposition that are much further along their pre-season track than Liverpool. They're just 10 days away from the start of their domestic season. so should be a really decent game. And of course the anticipation about Liverpool's brand new signings as well, Alexis McAllister and also Dominic Szoboszlai, who really have impressed this week. A bit more about them later on, but the plan is that both of those players will play 45 minutes tonight, and also in terms of how the squad will line up, two very separate teams they think as well for two separate halves here tonight. So let me give you the starting 11 for Liverpool then, and no Alisson Becker tonight. He's been left out as a slight precaution. No Jordan Henderson either, and as you know, Curtis Jones and also Harvey Elliott, the under-21 England champions, will arrive tomorrow, so they're not included either. And also a note on Thiago and Stefan Bajcetic, who are training alone. They might join in team training last week, but not involved in this squad for tonight. So where Liverpool are concerned then, they have Quevin Kelleher in goal, Conor Bradley, who has been playing in training in that right-back position throughout the week so far, alongside Kanate and Virgil van Dijk. Robertson will presumably be asked to play almost as a third centre-half on that left-hand side from time to time, and Trent Alexander-Arnold looks as though he will figure in the midfield from the start tonight. That really has been intriguing, hasn't it, this last 6 months or so. Bobby Clark gets the nod as well, alongside Dominic Szoboszlai. Really look out for this guy tonight. He has been mightily impressive in training this week. Salah will play on the right, Diaz on the left, and Nunez in that brand new number 9 shirt now will play through the middle tonight. 15 goals last season, and real expectation on his shoulders where that is concerned as well. And the rest of the squad are expected, aside from Lewis Kumas, to start that second half, and we'll wait to see how that one shapes up this evening.
Thank you, Pete. Really interesting lineup that Jürgen Klopp has gone for there. We'll talk about the new players very shortly. There's a couple of standout aspects of this team, isn't there? And I think first, the fact that Trent's in a midfield role certainly gets the brain worrying. We've seen him do it. Yeah. He's impressive. His passing's clinical. What do you make of that?
I think, I said it on Liverpool TV at the back end of the season, I think he's the best passer in the football club. You can play any type of pass that you want.
I think he's the best passer in the Premier League.
So you have to try and find a solution to try and get him. Jürgen obviously wants to try and get him into that midfield position. And now it gives an opportunity for Conor Bradley, who I've seen a few times last year at Bolton and done extremely well.
Big step up, Bolton to the...
That's a huge step up, you know that, but at the end of the day you need an opportunity, and he got his opportunity at Bolton. He's done really well there, athletic, can go forward, you know, an aspect, good at set plays as well as a threat, you know, and he's got a good engine in him. So, you know, something that Jürgen might want to try and look at, and if he is the one that maybe can challenge Trent for that right back position, or can he play him at right back and Trent will play in midfield, then it gives the manager a lot of options. You know, if you can put Trent Alexander into midfield and you've still got Alexis McAllister, you've still got, you know, Thiago to come back into that, Curtis Jones to come into that area. It's a strong place to be than at times last season they weren't, and you know, you need an opportunity, and you don't know that Conor Bradley might just be the right back next season if he performs well on this tour.
Might just make that step up. How much do we read into it, Gary, given it is pre-season, and you know, we look at Trent there and think, you know, there's a lot of people in the camp that would say they want to see him there more often.
Well, I think first and foremost it's getting minutes under your belt, isn't it, as a player. I reckon that Trent will probably sit where we've got Bobby Clark there in that graphic. I think Bobby Clark is probably more adept and used to playing on that right-hand side, and I think Trent will be the holding midfield player as opposed to like a number 8 that we've got him there. But I think we saw the value of his performances last season when he moved into that central midfield position. He didn't actually stay in there, as a fact, he kind of just like drifted in there. And towards the end of the season, some of the games that we saw him, when Liverpool came under a little bit of pressure defensively, he moved back to a more like traditional and orthodox right back position. It'll be interesting to see how it develops through the course of the season, whether he starts with that against Chelsea away in the first game of the season, or whether he goes a little bit more reliable. You've got Joe Gomez in there as well that can easily play as a right full back as well. So it's a big opportunity, as Charlie says, for young Conor Bradley to show what he can do this afternoon.
Right, let's go to a couple of players who've changed numbers, maybe significantly for one of them, Darwin Nunez. He's taken the number 9, which is obviously an esteemed number for a Liverpool Football Club shirt. Decent first season, maybe the back half of last campaign, struggled for as many starts as he would have wanted. What should be expected of Nunez this campaign?
Well, I think he's had the season under his belt, and I always think it's tough for any player coming into a football club like this size. There's a lot of pressure coming onto you, especially if you're going to play as that central number 9. He never helped himself at times in terms of sending off, and that set him back a little bit. But when he got up and going, he's scoring 15 goals for the first season. It's a good return. It's now, can you go, if you are going to be Jürgen's number 9, the main number 9, then you've got to score 20 plus. If Salah does it, has done it for a number of years since he's been indoor. Diaz will have to add goals for the team as well, but I don't see why there's any reason why Nunez can't go and score 20 plus goals. I like what he does, his energy, he's a goal threat, and he links the play well. So I think he's a very good player, and a good pre-season under his belt as well. He will want to start the season on fire, and we look at Szoboszlai coming in, taking the number 8. It's been a hindrance for Naby Keita really, and there was a lot of pressure on Naby Keita when he came into the football club. I don't think that, me personally, I don't think numbers really matter. I think when you're in there, you obviously get compared to the greats of Liverpool if you've got certain numbers on, but I think you can only do what you're good at yourself, and if you're performing on the pitch, then I don't really think it matters what number you have in your back.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? You get compared, don't you? Luis Diaz, the number 7, great start to his life at Liverpool, and then the 2 injuries which absolutely destroyed half of last campaign for him.
Well, I think I've already made reference to the fact that I think Liverpool missed him badly last season. I think one thing, and I totally agree with what Charlie said there, the one thing that you think that like Luis Diaz is to add to his game is goals, and be more of a goal threat. I mean, he's got everything about him, his energy, his enthusiasm, his work rate, that's all there. It's just actually putting the ball in the back of the net. When you think about how Liverpool relied on the likes of goals from Mane, the goals from Firmino, and the goals from Salah, that's kind of what you're looking for in the likes of Diaz, Darwin Nunez or Jota when it comes into the side, and obviously Salah. Salah never really disappoints, he never lets you down. He scored more than like 20 odd league goals again last season, so I mean he's fantastic. But in saying that, Diaz has got to add to that tally as well. As I say, be as productive as what Mane was on that left hand side.
Right, we heard from Pete before about the fact that we'll probably see an entirely changed team for the second half, so we've obviously got the subs list there. Is there an 11 there that you can see from the Liverpool bench?
Yeah, listen, Jürgen obviously you've got your Matips and Jota. It doesn't matter whoever's in that playing and 32-man squad, they're comfortable enough with a position. Jürgen's picked a team that can come and play 45 minutes in the second half, and it's a great opportunity for these young kids as well to go and show the manager.
Are you excited about seeing Ben Doak this season?
Yeah, I'm obviously a fellow Scot, and come on and done well in spells, and his energy and his enthusiasm for the game is very something that's obviously taken the manager's eye, and hopefully he can go and contribute and score a few goals in pre-season. Then he might be in around it, and he might, Jürgen might want to keep him in the squad, or potentially maybe a loan for next season. So it's an opportunity for these young lads to show the manager that they're possibly ready for a loan, or like Conor Bradley did, or to be in around the squad. Yeah,
it is a chance. Alexis McAllister on the bench as well, so we get Szoboszlai in the first half, Alexis presumably in the second half. They've been the 2 key additions that we've had so far, Gary.
Well, I think quality players. I mean, you don't win the World Cup with Argentina and be a bad player. And I think when you look at that performance in the World Cup, it just wasn't that. He managed to continue that when he went back to Brighton and became an integral part of like the way Brighton played the game. So obviously big expectations when you come from a club like Brighton to Liverpool for decent money. A lot's expected of you, and hopefully him and Szoboszlai can live up to that.
It'd be interesting to see where he plays them,
or
where his position is going to be in this team. Because it looks like these 2 lads will play week in, week out. I think if they're fit, it's where they actually go and play McAllister. Do they play him as a 6 or do they play him as an 8? Where he scored 10 goals last year for Brighton. So it'd be interesting to see where Jürgen thinks that he's going to get the best out of him in this squad and this group of players.
And does it feel like a summer where an awful lot is changing with the midfield? Obviously Fabinho's not with the travelling squad. Jordan Henderson doesn't play today, so presumably he might be involved in games to come. But does it feel like there's a reshape going on with how we're going to see Liverpool play in midfield?
Yeah, of course there is, because the outer media or everybody's been crying, saying that Liverpool have been needing midfielders for a couple of years now. You know, and a lot. Milner's left, Chamberlain left in the summer, so it's
Naby as well.
Naby Keita is left, so you lose 3 midfielders. So you have to replace the lads that they brought in. Have got great pedigree to add to the quality they already have. So I still think there might be one more to come in the building. And obviously there's a lot of speculation going round about a couple of the players at the moment. And you know what will be. But it's great to see the quality that they can bring into the building. But also I think is the money they paid for him. You know, I think is very, very good deals compared to what's been branded around at other clubs and what they're spending.
Yeah, McAllister looks something of a bargain, doesn't he, at the moment? Thank you, gents. Let's hear from a Red who's starting this afternoon. Peter's been speaking to Caoimhín Kelleher.
Caoimhín, it's been a tough week. It's probably a welcome sight to get out there and play a game tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, it's been a tough week getting back into it, building the fitness up. And no, we're just really excited to get going and start with our first pre-season game today.
And as a goalkeeper, you've been facing a couple of the new boys this week. Sessions have been very fast, very encouraging, really. How have you seen it?
Yeah, no, exactly like you said. I've been really impressed. I think they've scored some goals past me now, which is a good sign. No, everyone's come back in really good shape, to be fair, and we're looking good and ready to go now for our first game.
And just finally, what's the excitement levels like? Because it feels like a new Liverpool now, doesn't it? There was a lot of change during the summer, but loads of optimism about what this squad can achieve now.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like you say, there's been a few changes from last season. New players coming in and some younger lads coming up as well. So I think there's a lot of excitement, new things coming, and hopefully we can start off right today.
Looks excited, doesn't he? About the possibility of being involved.
Yeah, and for him, this is another opportunity to showcase what he does. You know, he plays for the national team regular, and he'll be desperate to play games for Liverpool Football Club. But unfortunately for in his position, there's only one position he can play.
Yeah.
And for me, he's got the best goalkeeper in the world in front of him, and it's very tough to dislodge him. But you have to be ready and prepared in case anything could happen. And you know, it's an opportunity for him tonight to show Jürgen that he's ready if called upon.
I mean, Caoimhín's performed on the highest level, hasn't he? We saw him, of course, in the Carabao Cup final, even taking a penalty himself. He's very rarely let Liverpool down. But as Charlie points out, how on earth do you get the experience that he needs and that he wants?
Well, I think the Europa League might be an avenue that he might get a couple of games in that. Obviously, the Carabao Cup, if it's still called the Carabao Cup this season. But in saying that, when you look at the quality that he possesses, I think he's got big decisions to make. I thought he would have made big decisions at the beginning of this season. Obviously, there might still be time.
But we hope he doesn't. We hope that we've still got him for that campaign.
From a Liverpool perspective, you want him to stay at the football club because there isn't many better goalkeepers in the Premier League than him. And he's number 2 to Alisson. But again, Charlie's absolutely spot on. I mean, how do you dislodge the best goalkeeper in the world, like in Alisson? So that's his dilemma. But what you have to see is every time that he's played for Liverpool's first team, never really let us down, and he's a stalwart. He's a really, really top-class goalkeeper that would get in most of Premier League clubs.
I think in the goalkeeping department, I don't think there's a number 1 and number 2. I think it's, you know, you want both of them to be number 1s potentially, and you know, when Kelleher is, if his opportunity comes to be there, you know, you've got no qualms. There's no nervousness about putting him in. At other clubs, there might possibly be a number 1, number 2, but you're going to want the two of them to fight, and he'll make the decision. Listen, we know how good Alisson is. I think, as I said it before, I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world. But for Kelleher to get that experience of training with somebody who's at the top level is going to improve. But like you say, you have to be selfish at some point in his career to think, I need to play regular. I'm good enough to go and play. It's just when it's right for him and the club to go that way. But you know, it's an opportunity again tonight for him to show why he's a top goalkeeper.
And it is one of those areas that we've got real stability, isn't it? You know, because if you look around the pitch and go, you know, where are the areas where we've got backup, brilliant, or goalkeeper? You know, at the moment, it works perfectly for Liverpool.
Yeah, and I think they've got a great department with the goalkeeping coach, who's John Achtenberg, is somebody that I worked with when I was at Liverpool, and you know, he's a great coach, and that, you know, they've got a World Cup winner in Taffarel there as well. So it's a great department. It looks like they've got a good spirit amongst them as well, and you know, there's no egos. It looks like they enjoy training and being part of it, and that's important as well, because you know, if you're not playing, you've got to support whoever's playing, and you know, vice versa, and that's important, especially in the goalkeeping department.
They kind of have that union, don't they, the goalkeepers?
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. You know,
Was it always the same? Was it?
Yeah.
I think it is. Well, to be honest, the training has changed a heck of a lot since I was playing, but like it's always been that kind of way.
Us
isn't it?
and them.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Surely not, Charlie.
No, it's
Yeah?
us and them. Yeah, they have their own. They call themselves their own union. They have their own. It's them and us, and you know, it's. But I think that's what keeps their spirit going and keeps the togetherness, because it's, let's say, there's only one of them can play, and you've got to support them whatever decision the manager makes, and that's important. I think that's what, if you're a good teammate, you know, you support whoever's playing ahead of you, then you wait for your opportunity, and I think that department, looking at it from the outside, looks like it's a strong department, and they're all fighting for the same things.
They seem very normal in comparison to maybe Bruce, though. That's a.
Well, to be honest with you, most people are normal compared to Bruce.
Let's touch a little bit more on some new faces that will be running out for the Reds this afternoon. Fans might be a little frustrated that it's just 2 signings so far for Liverpool. But one thing is for sure, that the 2 that have come in are of the very highest quality.
It feels amazing. A dream come true. It's amazing to be here. Can't wait to get started.
Historic club, really good players, good coach. For me, it was perfect to make the next step in a club like this. And yeah, the fans, the stadium, everything is really good.
Right, let's talk about our 2 new signings, because so much expected for them. Let's go to Alexis McAllister first of all. Gary touched on it. You don't get a World Cup winner and think that you're questioning just how good his talent is going to be. Where exactly does he play, and what does he offer in this Liverpool side this season?
Well, I don't know where he's going to play, if he's going to play in the 8 or the 6 position, but I think I would like to see him in that 8 position, because he can create, he can see a pass and he can score a goal. And that's important for midfield. If you can get to double figures as a midfielder, which he did last year, I know he had scored a couple of penalties, you know, but he creates, he can assist goals, set plays, he's got quality. So, no, it's great to see. But big talking just there off camera that they're at a great age. You know, you're going to get 6, 7, 8 years out of these two players.
So he's 24.
Yeah.
McAllister. So Bosley's 22.
So yeah, you're going to get 6, 7, 8 years out of these good ages, performing well, and hoping that they can hit the ground running. And let's say from midfield they've got to add goals to the game, and I just think there's 2 great signings, and the value which I spoke about earlier, the value for these 2 players compared to what other clubs are paying, it's very, very good. But Liverpool are known to be getting good signings like this early in the window.
Charlie mentioned there about the goals, and it is something that was lacking, has been lacking perhaps for the past couple of seasons in terms of the goal involvement in the Liverpool side.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one, isn't it? Again, you go back to the likes of Mane, Firmino, Salah, and then Liverpool's pomp, they probably scored the majority of the goals, didn't they? They shared that amount around with the 3 of them. And the job of the midfield was really to win back possession in good areas of the pitch to feed these front 3. You know, when you look back at Wijnaldum, Henderson, a little bit before Fabinho came, they always won balls in good areas of the pitch, especially Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum was one of these players that was like very, very underrated. But then there was always a scream out for like more creativity, and you wanted like more creative midfield players. You'd signed Thiago, who's probably one of the most creative midfield players in world football, and at times it didn't quite work. So I think the one thing that you've got to get is the balance right in that middle of the park. And it'll be interesting, as you rightly say, where McAllister actually fits into that. I think they'll play left side and right side, and I think you'll have a holding midfield player, whoever that will be, whether that's Trent, whether Henderson stays or Fabinho stays. then I think that'll be the way that they go about it. But I think there's more goals with the likes of the two that we've signed in the team. I think they'll create more opportunities. But again, Jürgen Klopp, the way he wants to play is win balls in good areas of the pitch where you can counter-attack on teams. And that's the way that I see how they'll go about their business.
I think they two have got the energy, McAllister and Szoboszlai. They've got the energy to go and hunt the ball back high up the pitch.
When you look at Szoboszlai's stats when he played for RB, he won balls in good areas.
Yeah,
like that.
And that's what I think. I don't think that's going to go away from what Jürgen does. That's the model and the DNA and the non-negotiables really about going high press and things from Jürgen. I think these two lads will add that again to the football club and to this team. Added to that, they can score goals and they can see a pass and they can create. So if they can do that, then it's going to be a great
Happy
season,
days, isn't it? For Szoboszlai, 20 goals and 21 assists in 91 appearances for Leipzig. He's got a big shot on him. Great eye for a pass by all accounts. But look, we've all become Szoboszlai experts, haven't we? But the proof will be in how quickly he adapts to the Premier League.
Yeah, and also it's different playing from Leipzig than playing for Liverpool. There's a lot more pressure, but what you see is in the paper there, is like you say, you gave the numbers there. That's good numbers for a midfield player, and hopefully he can carry that on. And you'd be thinking playing with better players, he'd be able to get that opportunity as well. So we're all excited because it's a new player, coming in, and he's coming with a bit of a pedigree, and hopefully he can bring that to the table.
Very Jürgen Klopp, this signing, isn't it? Came out of nowhere, and as I sort of referred to there, perhaps we didn't all know the greatest amount about him. They paid a lot of money for him, but it sort of blindsided everyone, Gary.
Yeah, I think it did. I think there was a couple of other clubs that were half interested in him. And I think as soon as you get that little whiff, that little idea that maybe somebody else pinches them, you get in there, you do your business. And that's what Liverpool have been good at over the last few years, like with recruitment. They've identified exactly who they want. I mean, you go on social media or you pick up the newspaper, like end of the season to obviously the start of this season, and Liverpool have been linked with God knows how many midfield players. But they obviously have targets, and they've gone out and they've got it, and it's an exciting time. It's early days. We'll have to haven't watched too much of him when he played for Leipzig, but again, when you look at recruitment that Liverpool have done, they go on stats, they go on what the figures are, and his stats are second to none.
I'm sure you're going to be absolutely delighted with the two that he's got in, and fingers crossed, hopefully we'll see some more in the coming weeks. Now, you'd be forgiven for not knowing the full lowdown on the opponents for Liverpool's first pre-season game, and that we're playing them to commemorate the opening of their brand new stadium, which looks amazing. Well, with more details on that, as well as the Karlsruher starting lineup, let's head back over pitchside to Germany and to Pete.
Thank you, Steve. Welcome back inside. Really carnival atmosphere building here. This is their revamped stadium party against Liverpool tonight. They're expecting something like 35,000 inside here. The tickets sold out in half an hour, and they're really eager for a good season as well. They're a Bundesliga 2 side, as you know, and finished miles off the promotion places last season, some 20 points away from those promotion places. So they're hoping with Christian Eichner in the hot seat, a 40-year-old who played for the club in a generation gone by, that he could really get them going this season and perhaps have some kind of managerial input like Jürgen Klopp had at Mainz all those years ago. So he'll be really eager to impress Jürgen Klopp here, and of course have a conversation with him once this game is over. The two teams have never played each other before either, but there is one common link, and those studious football fans amongst you might remember that Karlsruher had a very brief spell in the UEFA Cup back in 1996-97, and they had a striker that scored loads of goals, 26 that year, and he was so impressive that Liverpool went and spent a couple of million quid on him. Sean Dundee, remember him? Roy Evans certainly will, and he's here tonight to watch this game go out as well. Also worth bearing in mind that they've played 6 pre-season friendlies already, so their fitness levels will be probably a little bit advanced of Liverpool's at present, but we'll wait and see on that one. Let's take a look at their team and a couple of players that you should perhaps look out for. The player to watch probably will be Fabian Fabian Schlusner, who got 16 goals for them last season. They're hoping he could improve on that again and maybe get them up close to those playoff places this year. Marvin Wanetsek as well in double figures for goals and assists last season. He got a couple in their last friendly. And this is the story that's really captured people's imagination. Lars Stindl is their headline signing. He started his youth career here. He's been and played in Bundesliga for the past couple of years. He's 34 now, scored 8 goals last season, and he's coming back home hopeful of getting his club going in this brand new look, beautiful stadium. Atmosphere is going to be good, and I think the pace of the game is going to be good as well. We're really looking forward to this one tonight.
Thank you, Pete. Well, Gary's been Googling just about every German football website ahead of the commentary on this one. He's an expert now on Karlsruher.
But to be honest, I was surprised that they were a Bundesliga 2.
Bundesliga 2, yeah.
To be honest, we always thought they were in like the top flight. So it came as a bit of a shock that they were in the second division. But I think the biggest thing that we face tonight is the fact they've already played 6 games. So like the fitness levels will be a lot like greater than like maybe what Liverpool.
Give everyone an idea of how far ahead you are after that.
Well, to be honest with you, I liken it to you can be the best side in the world. Like we play, or like I used to play a lot of the old boys stuff. And like a lot of the old boys stuff, you'd have like fantastic names. You'd have Jan, you'd have Ronnie Whelan, you'd have Steve McMahon, you'd have like Ronnie Whelan, Ian Rush, you'd have John Aldridge, all great players in their own time. But then you come against a team that had like a couple of youngsters and like they're really, really fit, and it makes a big difference. It kind of nullifies the fact that like you've got a lot more skill,
right,
and like the fitness levels of like the other players, the other team, they can make up for that. So I think it's a kind of like leveler in many ways, the fact that they've had a little bit longer and certainly game time as well. But there's no doubt, I mean, we have got better quality, and if we show that tonight, then I think it could be a comfortable victory. But they won't want to lose in like the first game in their brand new stadium.
No, and we'll talk about the stadium in a minute. But the name that stands out in their side is Lars Stindl. Are you aware of him, Charlie?
I'm sure I've played against these in pre-season when I was at Stoke, because we used to go to Germany quite a bit, and I think it's what I like about the German teams, it doesn't matter what team you're playing, if it's Bundesliga or Bundesliga 2 or 3rd or 4th division, they're going to be fit. And I think that's something that Jürgen will be looking at, that he knows he's going to get a test for his players. You can go and play against a Spanish team and you know they want to have a lot of the ball and it might be a little bit slower, but he knows that these boys are going to be coming at his team and put them under pressure, and it'll be a proper pre-season game, and that's what you want, and you want to be tested.
Well, for this guy, this is like the prodigal son of the football club. So he's returned to them. So that there's a big deal being made about Lars Stindl's involvement in the game. Well,
Pete, I heard Pete just say that he's 34, coming back to his home club. So it's a big occasion for him. But at 34, I don't know, like, you know, experience would tell me that it's not an ideal situation.
Yeah, I had that going to Dundee and it wasn't great.
Didn't work.
At 34, it's no, especially with these younger ones, like you say. You know, I wouldn't mind. I didn't want to chase Trent round at 34 or Szoboszlai as well. So I think he'll be in for a tough afternoon if he's not fit. But I just think, as a Liverpool side, I think this is a great game for them in terms of knowing a marker where they've got to a point for the last week or pre-season where they've come back and all at different times, so everybody's at different stages of the pre-season. This is a good game for these boys coming back in and testing them, because they know they'll get a good game in terms of a fitness one, and Jürgen will be looking to see if these boys are ready to go at the start of the Premier League season.
So as Gary mentioned, it's an inaugural game at the new stadium. The old stadium had a certain look about it. Not bad, looks a little bit like an athletic track. And then obviously the new deal and the celebrations for today. Wow. Brand spanking new. Just offers...
makes a big difference, doesn't it? I think the one thing that would surprise me in the lead up to this, the fact that Liverpool had to travel like 2.5 hours to come and play this game, which surprised me a little bit. I thought they might have played somewhere like a little bit closer. But you can see there, it's a fantastic looking stadium, and well, you know, all power to them. They've obviously got big ideas, and hopefully they'll be going places.
Well, they've obviously got ambitions, haven't they, to get back in the Bundesliga?
Yeah, I think they finished 7th last season, didn't they, in like Bundesliga 2, so they've got quite a bit to do, but obviously got big plans.
It's a great game for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
To open your stadium, you have one of the biggest clubs in the world coming to you.
You don't want to lose, do you?
No, but you might never have got that opportunity. And 2.5 hours away, Jürgen's obviously preparing his team for the Premier League, and he's coming there. So it's brilliant for them to see these quality players. Normally might only see them on TV, but get close to Mo Salah and Diaz and people like that. It's great for the supporters.
I'm sure it's going to be a big attendance there for the game this evening. So that's the hosts for the fixture. Let's head back over to the stadium now. Peter's been speaking to the manager, Jürgen Klopp.
Well, Jürgen, first game of the pre-season, what are you asking of the players tonight?
Actually, some are now a week in, some are 10, 11 days in, tough sessions, hard sessions, but all were good. So I didn't see a boy who didn't show up, didn't give it 100%, so that's actually what I want to see. So okay, we worked on pretty much everything. We worked on our possession, on out of possession, set pieces yesterday. So seeing a glimpse of everything, and on top of that with a lot of joy, excitement for the young ones especially, but in general just a good football game against a tough opponent, trains longer than us, and and obviously stadium opening and all these kind of things, and yeah. No, I would like to see a good football game. That would be nice.
Stop at the court. Real anticipation about seeing Dom and Alexis McAllister playing a kit for the first time. Their showings have been really good in training. People excited to see them in the real thing tonight.
I hope the boys will enjoy it. Really, it's it's the first time. It will never be a normal game. It's just completely clear. But we have to in the dressing room and wherever we do beside the pitch, they are completely already fully in. But on the pitch, obviously, that needs always a little bit longer. But you saw it every day. They're in incredible shape and really good footballers and love what they're doing now. Pretty good at what they're doing. Together with the other boys. Yeah. I hope they can enjoy it, to be honest.
And just finally, is the plan for two teams that will play 45 each?
Yeah. Oh, we struggle slightly with players, and Curtis and Harvey will come tomorrow, join us tomorrow. So, but apart from that, it's all good. A couple of players play new positions, let me say it like that. But it's all about how we defend together, how we attack together, and so the position play is actually not too important, especially not for today. It's just that we can make the next step, and I hope we can do.
Well, his enthusiasm's absolutely infectious, isn't it? Even at the very start of pre-season, you could see he's got a buzz inside him.
Yeah, I think the combination of the results, the disappointment of the season in terms of not qualifying for the Champions League, not winning a trophy would be a big thing for him as well. He's had that holiday, and I watched some of the videos of them coming back first day, and he was alive, and it was the old Jürgen was back in terms of he was enthusiastic. You see that there. He's excited for this, and I think he knows that he's brought in a couple of good players. The squad's in a good place, and like you said, he just wants to see the lads go out and perform in possession, out of possession, and hopefully they can get a good result and take it on to the next matches. But when Jürgen's excited and happy, then you know that the football club's in a good place, and it looks like he is.
Yeah, it's sort of galvanised again, and I don't want to overemphasise it, but in terms of a pre-season, big pre-season for himself, because he's probably looking back at the last campaign and thinking, I should have got far more out of that season.
Well, I think they should have, to be quite honest with you. I think I certainly tipped them at the beginning of the season to be pushing Manchester City all the way yet again. It didn't quite pan out that way. I think the big thing, like for me, is the fact that he's got a couple of new players in. He's obviously quite pleased with the way that they've been performing in pre-season and the training. Hopefully that can get taken onto the football pitch, and it's exciting for him as well. I think when you look at the beginning of last season, the lack of signings was quite obvious, and I think the fact that you make a couple of signings as a manager, I think that just gives you a little bit of a boost as well, as well as the rest of the squad. I'll be surprised, to be quite honest with you, if there's not one or two more players added to the squad come the start of the season. I just think that we still look a little bit thin on the ground with regards to strength and depth. So I think there'll be maybe one or two players come in, and again, it's all about fitting into the team. And as much as we will talk about pre-season, and I talk about this a lot, fact when you're playing games and you're away in a training camp, it's about the camaraderie as well. Like build that camaraderie, which like stands you in good stead for the rest of the season. Because it's a long old slog, 10 months of the year. Through like the dark days of like December, January and February and all these games that you're playing, it becomes a bit of a light trudge. And like I think the quality that you build up and the camaraderie and the team spirit that you build up and like the likes of these pre-season trips, I think stands you in good stead.
You'd have both played for managers who were great managers but at times had their dips. But I would imagine the true test of a brilliant manager is the one who can deal with that and actually then re-deliver when things haven't gone well.
Absolutely, and I think, it's probably apart from the first couple of 18 months, 2 years of Jürgen's reign here, last season's probably the same, similar. It was taking time, and then obviously had that little bit of a dip last season. But he's come back energised. He's ready to go. You could see that. Obviously, become a grandparent as well, which is probably a little bit of a excitement as well in his family, as well. So, a lot of things are going on, and like Gary said, getting new players in the building. You've got the full concentration for these lads for the next 3 weeks, really, in terms of Germany, Singapore, all the other trips they've got. So you're getting these lads 24 hours a day, engaged in everything you want to do. They're in a camp together, and that's only going to be beneficial for the season ahead. You don't really want to be signing players late in the window, if possible. And like you said, these boys will just be ready to go. They've had 4 or 5 days a week pre-season with the lads, and they'll know what Liverpool's all about. And now they're in the group, they're ready to go for the games. And let's say 1 or 2 will come in the buildings for sure, but you could always add to that. But it's good to get a couple in early and see where they're at. And this team will look to be the main aim goal will be trying to win the Premier League, trying to be competitive in the other competitions as well.
Trying to win the Premier League. I mean, look, that is the standard. It's obviously a very high standard to set, isn't it? What will Jürgen be saying to them about what is expected from this season? Does a manager deliver that?
I honestly don't think he'll sit down to the squad and say that we want to be Premier League champions. I think that goes without saying. I think when you play for a club like Liverpool, you play for a manager like Jürgen Klopp, you're expected to win every game that you play in. That's why the expectation level is so high from fans, and as soon as you drop below that, then you get a little bit of stick, which we did last season, and rightly so, because as I say, we lost too many stupid points to lesser teams. But in saying that, I still believe that the 2 best teams in the Premier League are Liverpool and Manchester City. I believed that last season, I believe that this season. For one reason or another, we didn't perform at our best. And as I say, the fact that we didn't have Jota, the fact that we didn't have Diaz, I think was a contributing factor to that.
We'll go again. We certainly will. Right, as ever, LFC TV have travelled with the team to bring you exclusive coverage of the Reds' pre-season preparations, and Pete was the lucky one who got to head over to Germany. Well, let's see if he can give us a little bit more on what's been going on both on and off the training pitch.
Thank you, guys. Welcome back here. Liverpool players, of course, well into their warm-up now. They are, or have been based for the past 4 days or so at a place called Donnenschengen, which is about 2.5 hours
Yeah, incredibly tough. Early morning rises, you know, tough sessions during the day, and then, you know, obviously when the sun comes out, then, you know, we train a lot harder, and you know, obviously with the heat and everything, it makes it a lot harder. So 3 days have been incredibly tough. You know, pretty much, you know, there's been no kind of easing our way into it. It's been pretty full on, and yeah, but the lads have reacted to it, and you know, it's important that, you know, in these moments we all stick together, and you know, we try and enjoy the hard work and push each other through it.
I think you touched on it a bit before. It's been really intense, but there's also, watching on, there's real competition. I think it was, you know, 7-a-side games last night, and just some real good competition between all the squad and players. That must be healthy.
Yeah, look, it's always competitive, especially in pre-season. You have more chance to play, you know, kind of small-sided games and against each other, when probably during the season it's a bit, especially when you've got 3 games a week, it's a bit more tactical and a bit more, you know, trying to prepare the next game as such. So pre-season is always competitive. It always brings out the competitive nature in all of us, and you know, if we didn't have that competitive nature, we wouldn't be where we are. You know, that's what gets you to clubs like this. It's that competitiveness, it's that not wanting to lose, and you know, we've all had that since a very early age. So it always comes out in pre-season, no matter what age we are, and yeah, look, it always brings out a bit of fun as well. Of course, we get competitive, and you want to be on the winning side, and thankfully last night I was. But you know, and then when you're, you know, there's no problem with getting, you know, beat and being angry about it. You know, it's about, you know, being angry and you know, trying to make sure it doesn't happen the next time. And you know, the players that done that yesterday, you know, there's certainly a couple of angry boys.
A couple of new signings as well this week. Their first trip away. How have they settled in, Alexis and Dominic?
Yeah, look, it's you know, they've settled in, you know, very well. You know, obviously, look, the fans will want to see them on the pitch. The fans will want to see how they do in the Premier League, and so on and so on. But you know, the first couple of days, what they've done is, you know, they've settled in quite seamlessly. Obviously, it's a very open squad. It's a good squad if you're a new player to come into. You know, we welcome everyone with open arms and try and settle them down as much as possible. And I think we've done that. And then on the pitch, you see their quality. You know, I don't think anyone's questioned their quality throughout their career, and you know, that's why we've paid the money to get them. So, you know, they're showing their quality. They're showing what they've got. They're learning the way that we need them to play. And yeah, I'm sure the fans are excited to see them, because you know, we're definitely excited to see how they do in the Premier League. And you know, from what I've seen so far, I've got no doubts they'll be a success at this club.
Someone mentioned it was Uno last year, but what's the activities sort of choice this year between sessions to kill the time, or is it very much just rest and recuperate?
Well, we've had triple session, so I think all of us have been sleeping, to be honest with you. We've had no chance to really socialise. Look, we always try our best, and you know, we always do our best. We've you know, we've gathered a couple of fines so far this trip, so we've got a little court case coming up later on to see if some of the lads get away with it or not, and you know, that obviously brings a bit of fun, and you know, questioning people on the stand and things like that. So you know, you just try and make these trips as fun as possible. You know, obviously on the pitch it's very competitive, but off it, it's all about team bonding. It's all about trying to get togetherness, and it's also about being fun. You know, we're obviously away from our families, away from our kids, and it's difficult when, you know, the more days it goes, you start missing back home and things like that. And you know, all of us are feeling the same, so it's important we you know, we all try and fulfil our time properly.
Fascinating stuff from Andy Robertson there. Triple sessions. So we hear a double sessions. Triple sessions is putting them through the mill.
Yeah, just he like I said, he wants the full concentration. You know, and this is an opportunity for him to get these lads in his own, where he's got them for 24 hours a day. He's in control. You know, the staff are in control of what they're doing, and you know, there's an opportunity to get them fit. And like I say, back in the day, pre-season, you can go and maybe, you know, go out and have a walk in that, but if you're having triple sessions, it's about rest and recover and go again, and it's obviously been hard. I've heard a lot of things about Jürgen's pre-seasons. They are tough, and you know, as I said before, it stands you in good stead going forward in the rest of the season.
I thought there was only one 7 o'clock in the day, to be quite honest. It wasn't the one in the morning.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Look, one of the things they'll want to get back is that sort of defensive solidity. I mean, Alisson was far too busy last season, wasn't he? Actually, if you went back to the season before, you could have had a larger contrast in terms of sort of numbers and stats which went around Liverpool's defence. What needs to happen, Gary?
Well, I think it's easy to point the finger at the back four and the goalkeeper, isn't it? But I think the way that Liverpool play with that high line, it's imperative that you like guys in front of that back four like the front three, that's where it all starts. Like the pressing from the front three has got to be right, and then that's obviously got to be backed up by your midfield, and then that gives the opportunity for your back four to squeeze up as high as possible. I noticed there's like been, I think there's been a change in the law, in the offside law on the continent, not in the Premier League, but I think it will eventually come into the Premier League where it's going to be a little bit harder to like squeeze up and get teams played offside. So it's maybe something Liverpool maybe have a look at in the future. But I still think that Liverpool will play the way that Jürgen has played for since he's come to the football club. High press, high line at the back, and you're relying on your players in your front of you as a back four, that you don't get broken down and you have midfield players running at you, because defenders' worst nightmare is when anybody breaks through from the midfield and starts running at you, because you've got nowhere to go. I think when you look at Alisson's performance last season, he was fantastic, but there was so many times when Liverpool got caught and the guy was offside, and eventually the referee's assistant's flag did go up. So I think it was a little bit unfair on the back four to a certain extent, that they kind of got lambasted a little bit about how many chances they were conceding. I think if you look at it, the percentage-wise, I think a lot of them were offside before they actually went through on Alisson 1-on-1.
Right, well, we hope it certainly rectifies itself this season. That's our build-up to Liverpool's first game of the 2023-24 season done and dusted. Well, Gary's going to head over to the commentary booth to join John Bradley, who'll guide you through all the action over in Germany. Don't forget, Charlie will be back with me at half-time to go over the best bits from the first half. And after the break, we'll have Karlsruher versus Liverpool live on LFC TV and LFC TV Go, the only place to see every game from the Reds pre-season campaign. Thanks for watching.
There's nothing quite like Liverpool and Manchester United to get the juices flowing. That's a lovely ball. And Gakpo, and still Cody Gakpo, goal! It's absolutely brilliant! Sure, only half away, goal! It's delight for Darwin Núñez! Lisandro Martinez is the defender. Salah's done in one way, then the other, Gakpo! Oh, incredible goal! It's going to come to Salah! Oh, what a way to go level with Robbie Fowler! Comes to Henderson.